Rock and Okay, welcome to the Town of Deerfield Select Board Board of Health Sewer Commissioners meeting for March 4th, 2026. Time is 6 p.m. This is a hybrid meeting, both on Zoom and in the main meeting room of 8 Conway Street, South Deerfield, Mass. This meeting will be held in a hybrid fashion with the opportunity for both in-person attendance and remote participation. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy of the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. The meeting will be held in person in the main meeting room of the Deerfield Municipal Offices in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A. Anyone intending to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide their name and address for the record. So call the meeting to order. Let's see, public comment. We have public comment available. If anyone has a comment. Lee's got her hand up. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I saw that on your agenda you were going to be discussing the transfer station solicitation. And as you may recall, I sent an email to all of you last November on this topic. And so I thought that, harkening back to my former life as a congressional staffer, I would like to read my letter into the record, if that's all right with you.
You've got 2 minutes.
Okay, so honorable members of the Deerfield Select Board, and I'm writing on behalf of Engage Deerfield, by the way. We write to express our strong support for allowing citizens to table and distribute informational materials at the town transfer station. As you are aware, reaching Deerfield residents to share information about local issues, initiatives, and candidates can be quite challenging. The transfer station serves as one of the few locations where nearly all residents visit on a regular basis, making it an essential venue for community connection and civic communication. At Engage Deerfield, we believe that meaningful participation in our town's democratic process depends on residents being informed and engaged. In our experience, conversations at the transfer station have revealed that many residents are unaware of town meetings, elections, and other civic opportunities, in spite of the efforts of the town to publicize such events. Free speech and the open exchange of ideas are foundational to democratic governance. Establishing a policy that affirms citizens' rights to engage in issue and candidate outreach at the transfer station would demonstrate Deerfield's commitment to these principles. Moreover, it would ensure that all residents, including those who do not regularly access newspapers or newsletters, remain informed and empowered participants in local government. We respectfully urge the Select Board to support a policy that upholds and facilitates the free flow of information among Deerfield residents at the transfer station. Thank you.
Very well done. Thank you.
Thanks, Lily.
Any other public comment? Any other items? Hearing none. Let's
He's
see.
got something.
Oh, he does. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Now you do. Yes. Give us something good to chew on.
Really, we appreciate Lily doing what she said.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that we all get together and say what's on our mind a little bit, face to face.
And
I know this is even good tonight. I mean, it's here. I've been on both sides.
Can you pull it forward and just state your name for the record?
Oh, Pete Lankowski,
Thank you.
35 Stage Road.
Perfect. Thank you.
I've been on both sides of this. At the landfill, I've waited in line while people are shaking hands and patting people on the back, and some not patting on the back, and some not smiling too much. But anyways, you have to wait. You get in line. You know, it's part of the system. Can it be a problem? Absolutely, it can be a problem. And there's a couple things that I've seen. One is where people kind of rush to get there, set up their signs. Everybody got their signs. Now, there's 3 signs over there. I'm going to put one in front of them. You know, maybe we can say 6 signs per candidate or something, because space is limited.
Mm-hmm.
Once everybody gets parked and does, you know, And people do like to hang around, mill around, but there has to be, I'm sure you've investigated that and you know the spots that you can put people in and can't.
Yep.
But I think it's a great thing. I don't think it needs to be every Saturday, but I guess that would be up to the candidates, if they're permitted, once this is resolved.
Yep.
But anyways, good luck in trying to figure it out.
Thanks, Pete.
Lee.
Yep. Any other comments? All right. We'll get back to that subject. We don't have any hearings or appearances tonight. Any select board reports or announcements? Anybody got anything they want to hit on? Yeah.
We have the Board of Health coming up, right?
Yeah. Talk about Board of Health stuff in a minute. Been going to some, budget hearings. We had Frontier last night, and so they have a vote, I think, this Thursday. It's this Thursday, right? Or
Tomorrow.
tomorrow on their budget. So, the tough budget year, so they're making tough decisions that are not popular, but kind of need to be done. And I'm trying to just, I don't know, maybe you want to, do you have anything to report on the 1888? I mean, it looks like it's coming along nice. I see the zip wall going up and window buck openings are happening.
Yeah, exactly. We're moving ahead. We're in the unenviable position of having the general contractor want to be doing more things than they can do at this point.
Waiting on
Couple of
subs.
engineering things that just have delayed their ability to put in the drop ceiling grids, because there was some question about fire suppression systems and braces and so on, and that's been slowing things down. But all the the new addition portion is starting to get its insulated zip system installed and vapor barriers on the roof, and within the next month, we probably see the raised seam being installed on the roof. We've got some bids for solar that we have a recommendation on tonight for that south-facing, near perfectly placed south-facing roof.
Yep.
And fortunately, the bid's been good. I think Christopher might talk a little more about talking with the USDA about changing the split on payments and so forth, or where that is.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. I just wanted to thank our DPW. They've been doing a yeoman's work. It's been brutal winter. I keep, when doing the warrants, we keep seeing the bills for salt coming in one after the other. So we're buying a lot of salt this year.
450 tons or something?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. But yeah, it's been hard because it's just the storms have been high winds or just lots of snow or then ice, and it's just nonstop. So really grateful for DPW and their subcontractors that are out doing the best they can. So appreciate that. And hopefully next week I hear it's in the 60s. So that'll be nice to see some warm weather coming. Board of Health, anything you want to hit on there?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the Valley Health Collaborative has an epidemiologist who reports on the infectious disease situation. While COVID and flu seem to be okay, he did want to warn us that a couple of Deerfield residents have been exposed and come down with measles. One was an adult, one was a kid. At the time that I read this, neither of them were actually back in the community because they'd been traveling. But there is a 10-day incubation period. So just people should be aware that if they see any strange rash or something, they should get checked, quickly. Hopefully they've been vaccinated.
Right.
Yeah. So that's it.
I was speaking with Meg Tuchin last night a little bit about, we're looking at the budget for Frontier and talking about outreach coordinators and people that are, or what do they call that?
Oh yeah,
I can't think of the name of the position, but it's mental health, and it's helping, students with,
coming forward to get help
Yeah.
if they need it.
absolutely. And, Meg looked up the the legislation around the opioid settlement funds. And we thought maybe that might be an area where we could try to, we've been hunting for the right thing
Right.
to make
Yep.
the biggest impact in the community with that funding. It's not a lot of funding, but as towns pool their money together, instead of just kind of like, whatever, buying some silly thing, we just wanted to really have an impact. And I feel like mental health and outreach with the schools or even through our police department or something, some way to kind of help with mental health, it might be beneficial. So it just came up. We were looking at that, so it might be a topic to talk about later with other communities as well.
Yeah, and I think I was literally just talking to Ned about it today because he had been talking to Chief Pachurik about, what plans, if any, the police department had. I know he was talking about what Carolyn had been thinking, and I assume she was on the same page with Megan as well. So I think it probably makes sense to just, get everyone together in a room and actually talk over some of the options.
Yeah.
I think, one of the challenges has just been some of the state requirements around engagement there's a pretty high threshold. And so you want to make sure you're meeting those requirements, but also not just spending all the money on meeting those requirements. So,
Right.
so you can actually have some impact. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll be talking to Ned on Friday at our regular staff meeting about it.
And it's been a topic through FERCog as well, and they've been trying to figure out, how do we pull it together? And
Yep.
so I thought it was an interesting idea anyways. So just some quick meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for a regular select board meeting of February 11th, 2026 as presented.
Second,
Thank you. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Great. And then also I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the select board's executive session for February 25th, 2026 as presented, and to release them from executive session if applicable.
Second,
Thank you.
And I would say they're not applicable.
Not yet, but when
Not
they
yet.
are.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Not yet. So let's see, we have some discussion items. We have Yankee Candle one-day liquor license for the Shamrock Fest on March 14th, 2026, between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And they usually have everything kind of all laid out, so I'm sure they've got all their stuff done. This is all the new permit eyes, right? Yeah, it looks a little different. So, and we don't typically have a spot to sign these any longer, right? So they're just done automatically. Okay, that's great. So, I move to approve the one-day liquor license for Yankee Candle for Shamrock Fest to be held on March 14th, 2026, between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., subject to compliance with all applicable state and local requirements.
Second,
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. And then we have to award the contract for the 1888 building meeting room audiovisual equipment to a vendor recommended by the 1888 Building Advisory Committee. Do you want to hit on that, Chris?
Yeah, happy to. Yep. So kudos to Greg Snedeker, our assistant town administrator, who pulled together this RFQ, and as is so often the case, his AV expertise has come in handy. So he put out an RFQ back in January. We got a ton of responses from vendors on the state contract list. Essentially this is to have the meeting room AV of our dreams. So no mics for amplification. It's a small enough space, and the audio should be good enough that we'll essentially have one mic that's picking up the room, and that's simply for people who are online to be able to hear.
Right.
So it should be a much better setup than here. We have to remind people to eat the mics all day. So.
Yeah. And there'll be speakers kind of in the walls or whatever.
Yep, and there's going to be
back in here.
a couple screens, and yep, so it should be a pretty good setup.
Good.
So we had a number of responses. Ultimately, looking at it, it appeared Valley Communications had the needed supply at the lowest amount,
Yep.
while still being fully responsive to the requirements of the RFP. or RFQ rather. I will say, we're anticipating that some of the work may be under prevailing wage, and so we had asked vendors to provide a quote that reflected that possibility. And most were able to provide that, including Valley, but some did not. So that was the difference maker here.
Yeah.
But ultimately, well-known entity. I think they're based out of Brattleboro, Vermont. They're
Yeah.
right nearby. So
Yep.
great choice for that part of the project.
Wonderful. That's great. Well, I'll,
Yep.
go ahead. Any questions, Bill?
A little bit of, when you've got these bids in, there's certain things that they specified in each one of the bids when they came in. Because I'm looking at some of they just don't, they don't match up as like, this is the way it's gonna be, so. Some of them excludes prevailing wage, some of them say, yes, it is prevailing wage, and they will handle it. And, the other part of it is I didn't know what the equipment was. Is it all, did it come through all the same equipment?
Well, we were really asking, we were saying, we have these needs. We have needs for screens and microphones and needs for, a system to control all of those things. And you tell us what that system is going to be and price it out for us. And so you had some overlap, I believe, in some of the equipment specs. The equipment that was provided in those RFQ responses, but on the whole, they're all supposed to do the same things. They just have, slightly different.
So they had a diagram of what that room was gonna look like.
Right,
okay,
yep.
How they knew what they were gonna be doing.
Exactly,
That's
yep.
all I needed.
Yep.
Thank you.
A lot of, I went through a lot of reading on those things. The committee was pretty diligent about it. There's a 75-inch screen. There's an 86-inch screen would be behind the select board or the planning board, whoever's holding the meeting, so that everybody in the room we can see on the large screen what they're seeing. And so everybody should be able to be on the same page as we're going through meetings. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it'll be very helpful. Very helpful. Great. And I assume the equipment was good quality equipment. It's not.
Yeah, all of the stuff that I saw, they were, like Shure,
Yeah.
all name brands from,
Great.
years of,
And
Harbor Freight wasn't.
yeah. And one other note. And Lily's got a question. I don't know if we're entertaining questions, but the funding. So this can actually be covered through our FCAT capital allocation. However, we are, as Tim alluded to earlier, going to be talking to USDA about potentially taking on a little bit more in terms of the cost of the project, given that the project came in so under bid, and we want to make sure they fully spend that earmark. So, and I'm sure they want to as well. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah.
Every potted plant we can get. So I move to award the contract for the 1888 building meeting room audiovisual equipment and installation to Valley Communications as recommended by the 1888 Building Advisory Committee in the amount of $37,082.88 pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30B, as the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, and to authorize the town administrator to execute all related documents.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilge, aye.
Aaron McDaniel, aye. Great. Then we were going to kind of review the fuel efficiency vehicle policy. We had a policy back from 2011, I think, was when we first kind of started down this path.
Yep.
And then we had another kind of idea or something voted at last special town meeting that was kind of similar, I think, but not the same. Because this vehicle, I guess just maybe I'll read for the public what this was. The purpose was to ensure that town of Deerfield will purchase only fuel efficient vehicles for municipal use whenever such vehicles are commercially available and practicable. the guidelines for the purpose were all departments or divisions shall purchase only fuel-efficient vehicles for municipal use whenever such vehicles are commercially available and practicable. Town of Deerfield at present operates no non-exempt vehicles. Should any vehicles classify as non-exempt be purchased by the town, the vehicles will meet the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's EPA guidelines. Can somebody explain what a non-exempt vehicle is? Is that like a big truck or something like that? I mean, I'm trying to understand what
exempt.
this meant. What no non-exempt vehicles? Meaning like all of our
So,
vehicles?
so an exempt vehicle would be one that is, you can't actually, we don't have a fuel efficient vehicle that'll meet those needs.
Well,
So-
that's kind of weird because it says the town of Deerfield at present operates no non-exempt vehicles. No non. These are the known unknowns and known knowns. It's a
I
Donald
think
Rumsfeld.
that policy is 15 years old and somebody might want to update it.
Yeah, exactly, which is, I think also it's like an exempt vehicle would be one that is not covered by any emission standards or anything, and we don't operate any of those exempt vehicles, so they're non-exempt, which is kind of a crazy ass way to say things. Sorry. But yeah, the wording is definitely.
Yeah. It's kind of,
And
yeah, maybe.
do you
needs some
remember what
wordsmithing.
MPG means?
I do know what MPG means.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. And then, yeah, so exemptions were like heavy duty trucks such as fire trucks, ambulances, that kind of thing. Are exempt from this criterion. So.
Which is most of what we
Y-
have
i-
here.
Correct, except for like, the chase vehicle and
The
whatever.
cruisers, yeah.
Cruisers, that kind of thing. And they are energy efficient. We have
Right.
hybrids and all that
Yeah.
now. So, but the thing at annual town meeting was more of that we were going to try and move to non-combustion, like oil combustion vehicles, if applicable as well, if they,
Right.
again, the police don't have a vehicle yet that they're satisfied with, but, any other vehicles we get would generally, if we, bought a vehicle for just traveling to meetings or something, we would get something probably electric, right? Because that's what we.
Yeah, and this
We just
doesn't,
have to go with Tim.
it's also
That's right, we'd ride with Tim.
hybrid, this could be hydrogen vehicles. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
that they're practical either. There are a lot of non-emission
Yeah.
vehicles, but
Mhm.
not police cruisers, not ambulances.
Yeah, during that time period though, from trying to get to that point, you'd be using hybrids and things like
Right.
that as well, so that you would be cutting down as you're going.
Yeah, slow progress.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it was just kind of like, these were the guidelines of like a two-wheel drive vehicle
Right.
would have to have at least 29 miles per gallon. Four-wheel drive vehicle was 24.
Yeah, this
Mm.
to me it looks almost like the state's early pass at trying to move people in the direction of more fuel efficiency. I think the newer policy is more about emissions
Yeah.
standards, and
So we can look at this and try and maybe update it down the road here with.
Yeah, and I think this was also talked about because Lisa pointed out that, one of the citizen petitions we received, was a policy, and essentially the select board could act on their own to adopt that policy or adopt some mix of this policy and that policy. So just wanted to kind of dust this off and put it before the board again, so that we can kind of talk about what the next step on that policy might be.
Okay. This one's a little confusing to me, so yeah, I think maybe a refresh would be helpful. We'll work on that, get back to you.
Yep.
Next item would be the review and vote on updated transfer station nonprofit and political solicitation policy. So, I'll just kind of read into the record what that is at the moment. We can discuss it after. So this is the policy, really. Permission must be granted by the town. No persons or groups are allowed on the premises except during normal operating hours. All activities must be confined to the designated areas, and there'll be a diagram that you can see this, but just for the general public, when you pull into the transfer station through the gate, there's a big area along the fence on the other side of the arborvitaes, but in that large parking lot, there's generally a pretty open space there to the right. What we've been trying to do is create a space where it's safe for people to mill around, talk, set up tables. There'll be two sections there along that fence line. But what we're trying to do through request of the people who operate the transfer station and then just comments from the public is to just not get in the way of people doing their Saturday morning drop off. They're busy, they're running in, they want to do their cans, do their cardboard, head up the hill and head out and leave. But we do want to make sure that people have the opportunity to park a car in the large parking lot, get out, come and talk to the people that are either running for election or have a political thing or just have information for the public. It could be a variety of things. It doesn't have to be running for candidacy or anything like that, but you want to set up a table there. There'll be two general spots. Generally, if there's a campaign, there's, two groups kind of up there touting their candidate, talking about their what they'll do for the town and all that stuff. So there'll be plenty of room in those two sections for people, kind of a first come, first serve basis setting up there. But there should be plenty of room for people to do their business. And if they don't want to talk to anybody, they can do their thing and move on. And we're not going to get in the way of anybody, but there's plenty of room for people to stop, come out, have a conversation, and then go on your merry way. So that's the designated area. The other reason we've kind of moved, most people used to set up in front of the salt shed, but we have a swap shed there now, which may actually expand a little bit too. And then the salt shed is actually going to be turned into storage. I think the large bucket loader will be in there, so that might be coming in and out depending on the needs of the transfer station that day. So really, it's just kind of moving the people away from the busyness in front of where people are doing their stuff and over to the side where it's safer in a much larger area. So kind of that's our thought on that process. At no time is any person or group to enter the roadway or impede the flow of traffic. Vehicles must stop by choice. All
Number 4.
Yep. Oh, number 4. I'm sorry, I missed that one. Number 4 is no one less than 18 years of age allowed on the premises without being accompanied by an adult. There's a lot of, moving equipment, all that kind of thing there. So just safety is really important. So kids can certainly come and campaign with their families and stuff, but just need to be, accompanied by an adult to do that.
I think that would also include if you had somebody from the high school that was trying to get a point out that as long as they had an advisor with them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, there could be something right from the school group doing something. Let's see. So then number 6 will be all persons and groups must always act in a courteous and professional manner. Number 7, any group or individual must leave immediately when requested by grantor or any other duly authorized town personnel, police, fire, public works superintendent, or superintendent's authorized staff. So if there's something going on, maybe there's an emergency, whatever it might be, if you're you're there at the approval of these people, if they've asked you to leave for any reason, then we have to shut down and leave. There'll be a waiver that you sign on all this stuff too. And to use at one's risk, the grantee will hold the town harmless in case of an accident or injury. Every person in the group that will be on the transfer station property site shall be required to provide a signed Town of Deerfield release waiver. This form must be posted during the event. And then 10, please note the designated areas are highlighted in red circles on this page. You'll see that when you do that. The only other thing I thought we had in here, but was that, about signs, and Pete kind of brought this up too, is it's really this, and this is for people putting a sign on the common or anything like that, or on town property. The idea is that we didn't want the town plastered with signs on town property. So the idea is if you're coming there, you're bringing your signs, hold them up, tape them up, put them on the fence, whatever you want to do. When the event is over, you're done for the day, you take all your stuff with you. Don't leave things there. And I think everybody's pretty much obliged to that. So that's really the one thing I maybe would add to this would be to make sure that you take any
Take everything. with you.
paraphernalia with you.
Yeah, take everything with you.
Whatever you bring, you take with you.
Yep.
So at the end. So is there any discussion or any comments that other board members have? Or
I think Christopher was mentioning that Lisa Mead might have had, I don't know if this is,
is there
this
other
or the-
items?
Well, we just want to double check, it's always can always get a little hairy when your select board is weighing in on matters of speech. And so I think
Correct.
I just want to confirm with her that the version that, the board and Matthew have landed on will pass muster in that respect.
Sounds good.
So I think we'll just bring this back on the 18th and get
Okay.
it done then, would
Yeah.
be my suggestion.
That sounds good. So maybe we can add that sign thing. 11.
Now, question I have on this, Christopher, is this, the designated areas that they have right along the thing?
Mhm.
This is where they're gonna be confined to. So in other words, people that are presenting and doing their thing, they won't be walking around the parking lot or any of the other stuff. They'll be sitting in that one area to receive people that'll be coming up to them. Is that
Yeah,
right?
the nickname we've had for it is the penalty box. So.
Penalty box. That works. I mean, I
Well,
think
it
that's
does.
fair.
It does.
Yeah, and it's a large area, so I mean, people can
Right.
spread out and talk and that kind of thing, and there's, it's really, as long as you're not impeding people going to the brush thing or whatever, there should be plenty of places for people to park and come over and talk and all of that stuff, so I think it seems large enough. I mean, the circles may not seem that large on the picture, and people can expand from there a bit, but just as long as we keep the pathway open there and the rest of the area is all wide open, so.
Yep.
All right,
so we'll bring this back to another
Yeah.
after Lisa.
Yeah, we'll talk about it some more on the 18th.
great. Yeah, and see if the waiver makes sense to her too. Yep. Let's see, so we have to accept the resignation from the, Darren Damaris from the Conservation Commission, effective immediately, so I think I had a letter here, and then I'll read the motion. Says, I'm writing to inform you that I must step down from my position on the Conservation Commission. After much thought and consideration, I've concluded that due to my work schedule changes and responsibilities, simply can't dedicate the time to the commission that it requires and deserves. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of the Conservation Commission. Truly grateful to the Select Board for your consideration in this respect. All the best. So let's see. I move to accept the resignation of Darren Damaris from the Conservation Commission effective immediately with appreciation for his service.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussions or comments? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Harold McDaniel, aye. Yes, thank you very much for your willingness to serve, and that definitely leaves a spot open. So if anybody's interested in serving, love to have you. We also, let's see, we had an appointment to the Cultural Resource Officer. I think David Budd Driver was interested in serving there again, and he served the town quite a few times, or at least 2 times on this. I think he was instrumental in starting this this position, and what this position does is kind of protect our rights as Deerfield and landowners for archaeological items. So when any project is going on, he'll survey and kind of work with areas to make sure and protects it from nonprofit entities, schools and such coming in and kind of doing surveying, taking stuff with them. The stuff belongs to Deerfield. So he was pretty instrumental in doing all of that. So I move to reappoint David Budd Driver as Cultural Resource Officer.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
like,
Question?
I have discussion, yeah. Is he currently serving this position?
Well, it's empty right
It's
now.
empty.
Right.
Right.
It's empty.
And I note that he lives in Florence at the moment, and
Mhm.
that is, I'd be interested in finding out whether there's anybody who lives in Deerfield who
Mhm.
wants to serve in this position before voting to appoint somebody who's not from no longer lives in Deerfield.
Okay. So do you want to hold this for
Yeah.
a week?
Let's hold
Yeah,
and
I'd like to
find
put it
out.
on hold and find out, have we ever advertised this position?
Right.
Um,
We probably haven't. I think it's kind of gone empty. You know, he created the position to protect the town and had done a lot of work to do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's probably um, not well known. And so if there are other people that are interested and that live in Deerfield.
yeah, I'd like to ask the Historical Commission if
There
they
you go.
have anybody who might be
Mhm.
willing to consider filling this role who actually still lives in town.
Okay. Well, we'll put it on for the next meeting and
Table
go
it.
from there. Table that. All right.
Do we table the next one too?
What is the next one? We don't have a next one. So we have
Don't we?
Franklin Land Trust. Letter regarding the Deerfield Dirt Road. How do you say it again?
Rondonay.
Rondonay. This is the D2R2 event for August 22nd, 2026. This is a 21st event, annual event where the Franklin Land Trust raises money to protect land in Franklin County, and it's just a bike ride. Everybody rides bikes, and then they have tents down in the down on Village Road, and there's food and drink and that kind of thing. So I have got maybe I don't. I thought I had a motion on that. So I guess this is it's just a notice, right? We don't need to. It's just a correspondence. We don't need to vote. I think they'll come for a liquor license later
That's right. Yep.
in the season. So just a notice to everybody, they'll be having their event again on August 22nd. That's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay. So town administrator updates. We had and I guess this is kind of where we could talk about the DPC meeting we had this past week, and
Yeah.
you can fill in on that too when you're ready.
Sure. Yeah. So we've had obviously a number of ongoing wastewater and stormwater projects. We had a chance to talk to DPC, our consultant on those, on Friday. You know, myself, Trevor, Matthew Morse, our DPW super, Alex Galloway, our planner, and Greg Snedeker, our assistant town administrator, were there as well. So we got an update on Sugarloaf and Park and the stormwater situation there. They did have a couple issues that they had identified that Matthew is checking out currently. And then I believe they were going to come back with some additional data based on what they had already found.
Yeah.
Though the overall message seemed to be relatively positive in terms of, they didn't find, as much in terms of the stormwater infrastructure being degraded as maybe was expected.
Right.
So that was good.
It's in much better shape than we thought.
Exactly.
There is an area at the end of Grammaki that we need to address. And so we're looking into that. Matthew's doing a little more research and all, and we'll figure out a way to fix that. But yeah, most of Sugarloaf, there are some areas where like Mountain Road comes out and takes a hard turn down Sugarloaf to the plant. That's like a more than a 90-degree turn. And so we're looking at maybe redoing that, maybe doing 245s or, a couple more angles there to make it not such a tight turn, because you can back up there for sure. So there was interesting stuff to kind of figure that came out in that survey. We also looked at Elm Street as well for wastewater and for sewer. And luckily we found, I think there was no open and cut on Elm. And we could line it, how we put the stuff in, we've done in other pipes. So the thought was to line that. I think Alex was going to see if she could get either that tied into the project through Mass
Right.
Works, or we could do it later too, after the project. It wasn't like it had to be done now. So that was really good news as well. And I guess the main things were, was sewer infrastructure replacement planning. So working on a plan. Maybe I'll just read this so that people in the public understand as well.
Or I mean, you could
Or do you-
skip, to me, the big thing was just the wastewater treatment plant, the old Deerfield wastewater treatment plant. So we had asked DPC to come up with kind of a quote on a phased approach, and then also a all-in.
Yes.
What would that look like?
Yep.
And so we did get some direction on that, that I think will allow us to kind of to move forward. And then I think another piece that we were hoping to talk about really quick tonight was the effluent pipe. We got some further info from DPC on that. And I know almost simultaneously with that meeting, we heard from our congressional representatives about federal funding opportunities, congressionally directed spending. And it seemed like that project might be a good fit there. So I know there's been some email traffic between DPC and Alex over the course of the last couple of days, just clarifying that. But just wanted to bring that to the board's attention as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That, we do still have to deal with the effluent pipe, and that's the pipe that leads from the plant. And there is some drainage pipe stuff at the plant as well that we would try and tie into that project, other than the pipe leading to the river, which is all clean water, but it's broken. It's been broken for a bit, and we've been trying to find money. So I think this would be, I know this turnaround time was pretty quick through McGovern's office, right? And,
Right. Fortunately, we already back in, I think, February of last year had pursued some disaster funding that USDA had set aside
yes.
For that exact project. So DPC has gone through a lot of the legwork on that, at least on the effluent pipe piece.
Yep.
So that
We
certainly
turn that
makes it
around.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah, turn it around pretty quick. So are we all in favor of moving that forward for a request? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I think that people should know that we have to file an application on Friday for the community project funding through the House. And this is one that we've had experience with. So I think it's the perfect project to, see if we can't get the federal government to help pay at least 3/4 of the cost of making this fix, which we know we need to do.
Makes sense. I know that you just found out last Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah. This is,
hey, by Friday.
This is common. I don't know why it is common, but we know that the House and Senate do these things every year, but every year it's like 10 days. You find out, the Senate's a little longer. They March 16th, but I don't know that our project fits into what their priorities are this year.
Yeah, it fits more in the House. Your thoughts? Are you open to kind of applying? Yeah,
We should do it.
I think we've done a lot of the legwork, so it makes sense to.
Yeah, and I know I think Alex worked up a letter of support and
Right.
some other things. So again,
Yeah.
US DPC had already done so much last year that we're
Right.
in a pretty good position to apply quickly.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
could we pre-authorize approval of a letter of support from the
Yeah.
Select Board so that we don't have to hold a meeting on Friday?
Yeah, please, please. I make a motion to approve a letter of support for this project.
Second,
Thank you. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilge, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. You could stamp or run in and sign, whatever you need.
Sure.
That'd be fine. So during that meeting, we talked about a couple of things, the evaluation of our wastewater and stormwater asset management plans. We talked about the industrial park study, giving an update on that. There's some work that's going to go forward and gathering more information on that. So the team is working on that. And then, the old Deerfield wastewater treatment upgrade. So the team discussed two alternatives for upgrading the Deerfield wastewater treatment plant with a total cost of either $9.7 million for a single project or $13.2 million, including additional features. That's if we broke it out in the 3 phases that we were thinking of. Electrical first. We had some aeration and stuff second, and then clarifier stuff after. So there was like 3 different ways that we could do that. We're still kind of putting together the plan and talking with with the users in the area to see what would be most advantageous. We would love to, really there isn't money just sitting there from the federal government to help us with this project, but there is always a loan that we can get from USDA, which is still, considering the rates are high now, it's around 3% or so. Might be a little bit more than that, but that is about 3% for a 40-year note. And then so we could bring that and then try to get the users to help pay that. So they're still working on how to fund it, but there is an urgency to get something going, especially on the electrical, because it's toothpicks, duct tape, Band-Aids. Like, we're holding that thing together, and every day Eric and his team do an amazing job keeping it going, especially with this cold winter, just knocking the ice off the aerators. And I really thank Matthew and his team for helping Eric kind of pull those aerators out and beat the ice off of them, and replace one failed at the old Deerfield plant, so we had to replace that. Luckily we had a spare, but it's on a shoestring. We need to get that thing going. So and then we talked about the effluent pipe, and then the rate hearing infrastructure. And the thought was maybe to, well, we usually set our rates in the fall, and it seems like we're always like already halfway through the year before we set the rate. So we talked about, while we set this budget this year, we kind of know what our budget is already. Once we get that set through the finance committee and stuff, get that information at DPC, and maybe do an earlier rate study and help, so they can help us set that rate a little earlier in the year, so we're not so far out that we're halfway through the user fee, by the time we set the rate. So might be a little bit better for the public. I think that's pretty much it on that. Is there any questions or anything that anybody has about that meeting? And we'll have some next steps. We'll bring stuff forward, but about where we are.
What else do you have, Christopher?
In terms of other administration updates, yeah, sure. Well, I did just want to, mention, as Tim had said, we did get some solar quotes for the 1888 building. The Building Advisory Committee had an opportunity to review those quotes on Tuesday, which was just yesterday. It seems like a long time ago. And ultimately, I think PV Squared came back with kind of the most advantageous quote for us. Just to remind everyone, so this is looking at the south side of the building. So that's kind of the long part of the addition roof. As you can see it, south facing, perfect positioning for solar. I believe this is going to actually they're going to contract directly with our general contractor. So there's no action we need to take. We're just passing that recommendation on to them, essentially. And that'll allow WJ Mountford, the GC, has been doing a great job to kind of manage their aspect, their part of the project.
That's a home run.
Yeah, it's great. And again, another opportunity to potentially, talk to USDA and see if they want to more fully fund that part of the project. The quote from PV Squared was $50,000 for that. Yep.
Yeah, and that'll definitely help with running the electricity for
Oh,
the building,
absolutely,
right? Because
yep.
we're doing more of an all-electric building anyways, right?
Right. Yep.
Most of the
Yeah, I mean, I think
pumps and stuff.
I think new construction, practically municipal buildings are required to do things that,
Your homeowner isn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, air circulation, which involves, recovering heated air. You have to circulate the air in a space three times an hour or something like that. And so they have to suck all the heat out and put it back into the fresh air that they're taking in from the outside. So it's a definitely more energy intensive environment, but it's better for the employees. It's better for anybody that's in the building.
Yep.
So this will give us an opportunity to offset at least a small portion of the electric bill.
Yeah.
Something we and all communities around us are going to be faced with, trying to come up with ways to generate their own electricity to offset the cost of, the
Races.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Makes sense. Good.
And then the only other thing I would mention, health insurance, because we have to mention it at every meeting, right?
Yes.
So we're now finally in the position to initiate this whole health insurance reform process. So we have some proposed plan changes from Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. The sequence here is going to be on Monday. We have a joint select board finance committee meeting. I've already talked to Julie about having the select board make a motion at that meeting to kick off the process. We'll appoint some folks to this insurance advisory committee that needs to kind of review those plan changes before the actual bargaining with the unions begins. But so just wanted to give everyone a heads up. We're going to be, that's going to be a lot of our time over the next month because it is such a truncated, short time period we have to do it. And then, at the end of it, everyone kind of acknowledges these are needed plan updates. And so those plan updates theoretically will be effective July 1.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you for that work. I know it's complicated and hard and it's in the way of everything else you are trying to work on. So appreciate you guys working on that.
Yeah, and I know the schools have already looked at the potential. They budgeted like 20% increase, so that the 12.48 was a good, and they've looked at how they're going to apply the cost savings to help towns in their budgets and so on.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and this is allowing us to, again, instead of budgeting 20%, we're able to budget 12.5%. And that means a lot this year in particular.
It's crazy that 12.5 is a good number. It's like, what are we talking about here? Okay, any other business or anything else we want to hit on? I'm sure you, again, this is all the stuff you follow up on, but the Stillwater Bridge legislation through the House, we're still moving that?
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned it. Yep, I actually had a conversation with Corinne Coriat, Natalie Blaze, former aide, last week, and she is still working, so she's helping out with kind of shepherding it through House Ways and Means, which is where it sits currently. Okay. We're looking to get an updated letter of support from or piece of testimony rather from the town on that. So I'm going to be drafting and sending that off, and then just corresponding with MassDOT Council on getting some other pieces out the door as well. Right. Fortunately, the way things are set up with the advertising for the actual construction, which will happen in April, they can move forward without having totally closed the loop on that Article 97 piece. So that's it's not
good. At least we're not holding.
Exactly. And then I would mention, just a reminder, on the 18th we'll do the actual takings of the easements. So that part of the process will at least be concluded then.
And we have a meeting that night, I assume, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. There's a chamber meeting breakfast that morning too, I think.
Citizen of the Year.
That is a Citizen of the Year. I think we're signed up for that.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we don't have a meeting next Wednesday.
Correct. And I believe there's a DES hearing.
DES budget hearing.
There's also MassDOT on the Mill River Road Rotary or whatever infrastructure they plan to do there. Or there's some updates online, so if people want to take advantage of hearing about that. I know that there's a lot of residents over there that were interested in help spearhead that. So want to make sure people who watch this realize if you need the link, just reach out to us so we can get that to you. But or I'm sure you can look on MassDOT's.
Yeah, and I think we'll try to get it posted on the town website as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Okay. Okay. All that being done, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
I was
Is in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Ilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
For attending.